Hi everyone, it's Casey Williams. Well, last Thursday was a very special day for automotive enthusiasts, but especially for Corvette enthusiasts. Because out in California, Chevrolet unveiled the 8th generation C8 Corvette, a Corvette like no Corvette before. You really wouldn't tell it's all that different from the front. It looks kind of like a Stingray from the front. It's got the flared fenders, the exposed headlamps, lower fascia even kind of looks like the Z06. When you turn to the side, though, you can tell that the proportions are drastically different. It's a mid-engine car for the first time in the car's history. There have been concept cars, Corvette concept cars with mid-engine, going back to the 1960s, but this is the first production vehicle. Again, there's still a lot of Corvette trademark cues on this car. I think when you see it on the road, you're going to recognize it as a Corvette. We talked about the fenders and the headlamps, but even this little upturn in the rear fender is really taken from the 1960s, 1970s cars. The window line here is taken from the Stingray. The removable roof panel, the target top, again carries over from previous generations. The side intake, that's really kind of cool to route the air back to the engine. Very nice, just kind of integrated and just kind of nice styling flourish there. The back of it, you see a lot of Stingray, the current Camaro on the back of it. It's a very Chevrolet sports car look. Some of the purists are going to complain there aren't 4 round tail lamps back there, but we haven't had that for a generation anyway. The quad tail lamps are moved out to the corners from the center. The vents are back there too. Just, to me, it's mid-engine, proportions have changed a little bit, but still recognizably Corvette. Interior is also radically different. Much more driver-focused than in the past. We've got the squared-off steering wheel, reconfigurable instrument cluster, flat screen here, kind of like what Mercedes is doing with the twin screens. Gives you all the information just right there, very driver-focused, everything you need. Climate control is down this side in this pod. Again, just kind of really cool and kind of a neat design feature. The material quality inside, what looks like metal mostly is. You see some carbon fiber in there, layered stitching in the leathers, much more upscale there. It has a heads-up display, and the view out through the windshield. One of the hallmarks of a Corvette is seeing those big fenders out through the windshield, and even in mid-engine form, I think you're going to see that as well. There's going to be a lot more customization for the interior. This is showing the beige color package. There's red, there's blue, lots of other different colors, leather, and kind of this combination cloth and leather as well. And you're going to be able to customize some of the stitching colors. Chevrolet is really trying to compete with Porsche, where owners can pick almost any color they want for the interior. So there's a lot more choices here and make this car really, really your own car. Also a lot of luggage space. One of the downsides normally of a mid-engine car is you give up a lot of luggage space. Well, this car, you have room for the target top behind the engine in the trunk, plenty of space there. You can get your golf clubs in the trunk. There's also a front trunk. In fact, the designers make the point that there's a fitted set of luggage for the C7 current generation Corvette, and that luggage will fit in the new car. So a lot of space for luggage. And one of the things owners like to do in their Corvettes is they like to get on the highway. They drive them 1,000 miles. They load them up, take their spouse, and disappear for a week. You can do that in this car. In fact, the designers point out that the passenger compartments move 16 inches forward, and they've been able to widen the car a little bit. So the interior space should actually feel a little more roomy than the current car. Of course, the engine, I like the styling feature in the back. It looks really cool. You see the engine through the glass. It's also got this flying buttress effect, going back to the 70s cars again. So let's talk about powertrain, because I know that's something you want to know about. It's a 6.2-liter small block Chevy V8 engine. And keep in mind, this is the base car. There will likely be much more powerful versions coming in the future. But the base car will deliver 495 horsepower. With the Z51 performance package, you get from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. So a very, very fast car. And that's really one of the key advantages of having the mid-engine vehicle. It just puts the weight over the rear wheels and just allows you to get that acceleration and much better handling in the car. This car is going to have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. There will no longer be a manual transmission option. That helps free up some space in the interior as well, kind of gets the extra pedal out of the footwells. But there weren't very many Corvette buyers honestly buying the manual transmission anyway. They're almost all buying automatics. And if you look at Ferrari and Porsche, very, very highly weighted towards those automatics. You got the paddle shifters, you can drive a car. In fact, it's doubtful you can shift that car as fast as the car can shift itself anyway. So I think that's really where it's going and works out very well. The car will have magnetic ride control. So again, if you're doing that 1,000-mile trip, you can set the car in tour mode and have a very comfortable ride. Or if you want that track day, you can tune it for that as well. And just kind of sum up and kind of talk about the car for just a second. you hear a lot of comments, seen a lot of things online, at the unveiling, heard a lot of comments about the vehicle. So, just kind of my history. I've had a 4th generation Corvette for 20 years. I've been to, every Corvette unveiling since the 5th generation car. I actually wasn't in California, but the 5th and 6th and 7th generations, I was at the unveilings of the cars. And to me, I love my car. I like it being front engine. I like the long hood on it. I like the 4 round tail lamps. It's a Corvette. But Corvette has got to evolve. It's got to move forward, and it's got to advance. It's got to be that car like the car was in the 1980s, and the car was in the 1960s. The kids just drool over it. They want to put the picture on their wall, and it's exciting. And I think Chevrolet has really done that. It's a car that younger enthusiasts can really get involved in, and it's a car that older buyers who have been Corvette enthusiasts for many, many years can get in, appreciate, and drive it and enjoy it. So I think what Corvette's done with this, I think is absolutely spot on, fantastic. But there's one thing we haven't mentioned yet: price. We were talking about the car, in the last year or so. Everybody assumed the car would be $80,000, $100,000. Even the analysts were thinking it was probably in that price range. So they announced the price and said it's going to start under $60,000. It was pretty amazing. Really a truly world-class car, and at a very affordable price, for a Corvette. So all in, GM just really hit it out the park with this car, and can't wait to get on the road and drive it.